Hello everyone from the Novedge team. Welcome to today's webinar, Pipe Network Design with Urbano Visio and AutoCAD Civil 3D. Are you struggling to meet your pipe design deadlines? Do you feel that designing pipe networks with Civil 3D should be simpler and faster? Well, join this webinar to learn how to streamline your AutoCAD Civil 3D workflow with unique Urbano Visio features. Urbano is used by engineers and technicians worldwide to do the design, calculation, and analysis of storm and sanitary sewage, water, and gas pipe networks. Today's webinar presenter, Mihael Vaic, is the Business Development Manager for Urbano Software at StudioARS. And let me tell you a little bit about Novedge. Novedge is one of the largest online stores for design software. We offer a huge assortment of software solutions that cater to virtually every designer's needs. Come find us at novedge.com. And this is the product page for Urbano Visio. And if you also would like to get the latest news and the latest promotion, you can always follow us on Facebook, Google+, or Twitter. Coming up next week, Visual Art 2, Flexible BIM for Rhino and Grasshopper. Last but not least, today's webinar is free and is being recorded live. And if you want to rewatch it, just head on over to YouTube and Vimeo and look for the Novedge channel. And now let me share Mihael's screen so you can get familiar with Urbano. Take it away.
Okay. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. My name is Mihael, and today we are going to be talking about pipe network design with Civil 3D. I have here a series of short examples. They were all designed with standard Civil 3D options for pipe networks. So your initial design, let's say, there's not much changed. But where Urbano Visio comes in is the editing and analysis of pipe networks. So we have a series of tools. So there's 11 tools in total, which help different parts of your design process. So today I'm going to walk you through some of the more interesting tools, let's say. If you want to find out more, you can, of course, go, as Barbara said, to the Novedge website. Look there, look us up on YouTube and so on. Okay, so the first thing I started is this data editing and analysis tool, which you can see down below here at the bottom of the screen. So the general idea about this tool was to we looked at the panorama pipe vista and structure vista, and we were thinking, okay, surely there must be some better way to present data in a table format. You know, a way that is more useful and gets you more productive. And so this was the first tool that we created, and it's sort of in some sense, it's the brains or the soul of the whole plugin. And you can use it as all by itself, of course, but also it's very good in addition to the other tools, in cooperation with the other tools we developed later on. So what is it all about? So the first thing, the most important thing about this tool is just data presentation. So instead of looking at all the data from Civil 3D in one giant spreadsheet like the Pipe Vista. We help you to create your own smaller data sets, data groups, and so you can narrow down on the information that you really need at the moment. And making your own configuration or data group is very simple. You just type in a name and go to the selection window and just select several, several data values which are interesting at the moment. So we have here all the different data that's available in Civil 3D. So all the data from the properties, all the data from the part list, and also additional data like property set data and part list, some custom part list data or data expressions and so on. So everything is in one place. There's no more need to go to different places to search for certain data. And okay, so you just click OK. I selected some different data to put in this group, and that's it. You just press OK, and your very first group is created. Now, the second very important thing is data selection. So again, the Pipe Vista will give you everything, the whole network, but you don't really need everything all the time. So we give you a couple of special selections. So for example, you can go in and select just particular pipes, for example, or you can go and you can select particular branches like this, and so you just scroll down to see everything, or you can select one of the profiles. So just hover over and select the profile, or you can select an element sequence. So you just click on any structure and you get the selection. And this also works for the profiles. So you just click on a structure to start and click on the second one to finish. And what's interesting in this data table is that when you go through it, when you just scroll through this table, it will automatically highlight this element also in the profile, and also at the same time, this also works in the plan view as well. So just moving up and down this table. And of course, if you select multiple elements, it will show multiple elements in the selection. There's also the possibility to zoom in. You can set up auto zoom. You can change these colors from yellow to magenta, green to whatever you want. You can set up zoom stages and so on. So there's general settings where you can tweak the things you want. And so that's all very fine, but what can you do with it except review data? So let's, for instance, select one profile. Let's say, so this one. Okay, and you see when I zoom in, so everything was already labeled. As I said, you use your standard Civil 3D tools for labeling, for drawing in the plan view, and for drawing profiles. But now, for example, you want to change these labels. So how can you do this? You can just right-click, edit value, and write a new value. and immediately, because Civil 3D is dynamic, immediately this value will change. You will see it in the table, and you will also see it in the label, in the picture. But actually, that's not what's interesting. The interesting thing is when you go and select the whole column, meaning 20, or in this case 13 different elements, and go and say edit this pipe name, and now you can create your own pipe name. For example, to look like this, we'll give it a little bit of a counter, something like this. And when you just press OK, you will see that all the pipes in this selection, in this pipe run, have been renamed. And of course, the thing is that you can do it with everything that's editable. So if I want to change the diameter of a pipe, I just again select, make a selection, right-click, and just change the diameter. Don't want to select everything, just 3 elements, for example. Okay, it's no problem. Just go into edit value. If you have something special like this hold on resize, then again a special editing window will open, and you can edit these 3 elements at the same time. On top of all this editing works also with, let's call them special Civil 3D data. So let me just very quickly show you. If I open the property set data window from Civil 3D, okay, so this is Civil 3D now, you will see that I have several different property set definitions. For those of you who don't know, property set data were added into Civil 3D in version 2017 update 1, and they have been expanded a little bit again in version 2018. And the special thing about property set data is that you can store different information into this data, and you know, when you send this DWG file to somebody else, this data is still inside. It doesn't, it's not connected to a part list or some other file or configuration on your computer. And this also works when you, for example, make an export to Navisworks. Property set data can go with the geometry, and this is great if you're doing clash detection or something like this. Okay, so we can do a little bit more with property set data than Civil 3D. So let me just quickly show you what we can do. So they appear here at the end, and I want to just now use this two data for pipes, status and type, and I just add them to a configuration. So it's that easy. There's no special things you need to do. And look, we just get these two new columns here. And so if I select, for example, this branch, in this branch I have the property set data already determined, okay? And so if I want to make some changes, as I showed you before, it's enough just to select what I want to change and go into editing and make the change, and it will immediately also appear in Civil 3D. So what I want to say is this mechanism to edit, to select data and so on is universal. It works with everything. What else can we do with this table editor? We can, for example, make AutoCAD. We can make AutoCAD tables. So these are not Civil 3D tables, these are AutoCAD tables. So you can use all the standard features for any AutoCAD table, you know, editing and formulas and so on. The special thing about these AutoCAD tables is that you can actually get Civil 3D data in them. And not only the default Civil 3D data, you can also get the special data like the property set data or the expressions and so on. A second thing we can do with this control is also I can create a copy, and I can just open an Excel file, okay, and I can just paste the contents inside. So it's that easy to bring your data from Civil 3D into Excel, and once you're in Excel, you can, you know, do with it whatever you like. Okay, so in very short, this is about this first tool. Now I want to show you another editing tool. This one is more graphical, so I'm going to just zoom in a little bit, and also here. So we have this tool to it's called Edit Pipes and Structures. Okay, and so you will see as soon as I hover with my mouse over a pipe or a structure, a set of commands pops open, and also I have a big tooltip on the right showing me different values. So let's talk about very briefly about this tooltip. So if I want, I can click on this small button and change every value that I want, for example, the name, or I can go and change the inner diameter of the pipe again. So it's not a problem. What is displayed in this tooltip? Well, this is something you determine yourself. So again, you have a list of configurations. Remember, we were creating a test configuration just a short while ago. Now when I select a different configuration, you will see the tooltip change, of course, and again I can you know, go into editing and edit anything I want. Of course, there's additional features, but let's just move on to the other functions. So, for example, what else can I do? From here, I can also start this part list change. Then a second thing I can do is, for example, I can insert the starting or ending invert elevation. I can change the slope, and also I can insert a structure. So it's enough just to click, and you can see also down in the profile view that a new structure has just appeared. If I hover over a structure, I have a little bit different set of options. So, for example, also I can change the part type, or for example, I can move the structure to somewhere else. And what's interesting with this move, and you can see the profile view also updating here. What's interesting with this move is that I automatically move the alignment as well. Okay, So I don't just move the structure and the pipe, I also automatically move the alignment. Okay, so to continue with the presentation, now I'm coming to this, let's say, main tool area, where we have 4 different tools to work with profiles. So first I want to show you profile drawing. So in Civil 3D, you don't really draw the profile, you set a set of rules, of boundaries, and the profile views get created from these rules. Sometimes you just wish you could draw something manually. So with Urbano Visio, it's very simple to do. I can just click on you know, any place to start, and I can just draw anything. And as soon as I finish, the profile view gets updated. I can also work a little bit smarter. So for example, I can set myself some auxiliary lines which represent minimum depth and maximum depth. So for example, I can you know, work with those if I want, and maybe make some small adjustments. Then another thing I can set up is I can work with a fixed slope. So for example, I can say, okay, I want to start here, and I want to draw in a fixed step of 0.5%. And now you can see these little yellow dots, the little yellow circles that appear. So each little circle represents this 0.5%. So I can be sure to, you know, to draw, if I want to draw exactly at 2%, you know, from structure to structure, I just need to set this up, and, you know, I can just follow this 2% rule and get a perfectly straight pipe. And then there's another possibility if you want to be really precise. So for example, I can, you know, start drawing, and I can say, okay, I want to you know, make a drop, for example, exactly 1. Okay, and again, you can combine this. You can then say, okay, I want to draw at 2%, and then again, I want to make a drop, and this one will be at let's say 2. You press OK, and you continue, and now you can say, oh no, this was a mistake, it's too much. So you can just go back, you know, 1 step and make it again. So you can say, okay, 2 was too much, let's try with 1.5. Okay, and okay, now this, let's say, this looks better, and you can continue just drawing. Okay, when you make a mess like this, then you have a second tool. And the second tool is for editing. So it's, you know, quickly brushing away those mistakes. So I can just have this selection, and I can say, okay, I want a flat 4% slope across these structures. You can see the little green line showing you how it will look, and I just press apply, and that's it. Of course, there's a bunch of additional features. So for example, you know, I can exactly pick my my starting point, and I can also exactly pick my ending point. I can decide if I want to change the adjacent sections represented with blue, and yellow, or not. So for example, I can say now apply, and things will change. Another thing I can do is, for example, I can start from here to here, and I can say, okay, I want a 3% slope, but I also want a 0.2 drop at each structure. Okay, and once you apply it, you get exactly this. So an even slope and an even drop with each structure. And just very simply fix the rest, and now it looks much better. Okay, and the last tool I want to show you is a tool for editing structures. So just let me change my screen very quickly. Okay. Okay, so let's go back to Visio. So start the edit structures, and with edit structures we have a few possibilities. So I can insert a new structure, so that's very straightforward. You just click on the profile where you want the new structure, and it will appear, and you see it also in this plan view. Next thing you can do, you can of course select a structure and move it. So for example, I can select this structure and then I can move it left or right. I can't go beyond the neighboring structure, of course. This wouldn't make any sense. So I just click the new position, and that's it. So it's quite simple. You will see also the little green line indicating how things will look once I press apply. The interesting thing, the important thing to know is there are several options how you want to move the structure. So for example, you can say keep elevation and slope, and in this way you will basically just move it on the existing slope, not change the slope at all. And you can also for example, move it exactly 8 feet to the left or to the right, or from the existing position. And the last thing, of course, is again quite straightforward. You just if you want to delete the structure, you just select it and delete it, and that's it. Okay, so moving on, I want to show you a little bit about our hydraulic calculation. So the first question is, of course, why at all bother and make a hydraulic calculation when there's storm and sanitary analysis already delivered with Civil 3D? Well, it's actually the answer is quite simple. We just make a very, very simple tool that's quick to use, simple to use, and it will give you some data very, very quickly. So again, as I said in the beginning, I can use this this spreadsheet which we developed also for some, together with some other functions. So for example, if you create a group that will show you hydraulic values, like the filling height and percent and pipe flow and so on. It's a nice addition to this calculation tool which we developed. And so we actually developed two very similar calculation tools, a quick calculator and a more robust hydraulic calculation. So the quick calculator doesn't require any pipe network at all. It can just work like a spreadsheet calculator, like something you could develop in Excel, for example. The nice thing, of course, is you have it inside of Civil 3D, and if you want it to actually work on a specific pipe, you can select a specific pipe, and it will give you it will give you the hydraulic data, like minimum diameter and you know, filling height and the filling percent and so on. Also, it's very quick, so if you change from metric to imperial, it will immediately recalculate and show you the values with the imperial measurement system. And also, if you don't want to use Manning, but you want to use Darcy-Weisbach calculation formulas, again, you just switch it in here, and it will show it to you. Of course, you don't, as I said, you don't need a pipe network. You can just, you know, select any pipe from the part list, you know, change the slope, and so on. Everything will be recalculated, and you see the values, and you can then just copy it to the clipboard and paste, and that's it. So you get your quick calculation results directly from Civil 3D into Excel. Okay, so this was the quick calculator. We also have a very similar calculator, which is called hydraulic calculation. This one actually requires a pipe network. So the initial selections are equal, so you can just choose metric, imperial, Manning, Darcy-Weisbach, all of this. You can choose the calculation type. So do you calculate according to existing pipe diameters, or will you set some boundary conditions like a maximum filling rate or a minimum diameter or things like this? You can again set the pipes and so on. Down here you select the pipe network, and you also make the selection. So again, the similar selection process like I showed before for the spreadsheet tool. So in this case, I selected the whole network, and now I want to save the data for this network and just close the calculation. And now you can see in this spreadsheet tool, analysis editing tool, that all the data have been filled. So everything was calculated, and we now got values for everything. And how is this possible? Well, again, we use property set data for this. In this case, these property set data will be created automatically by the software, so there's nothing you need to do. So I just want to show you how it's working behind the scenes, so to speak. And this, of course, also means that when you make this calculation, you can use the property set data to create labels. You can use it to export the values to Navisworks, for example, and so on. And of course, once you have the data in this spreadsheet, again, you can, you know, just select anything. So I can now go in and select any branch I want, or any you know, element sequence from any point to any point. And if I want to have it you know, in an AutoCAD table, or if I want to just copy it over to Excel, it's quite simple to do. So very fast. Okay. Moving on, I want to move to a second calculation which we did. So this one is for a simple pipe trench volume calculation. And again, we can use this data analysis and editing spreadsheet which we generated, and I have here a data group for which we made for excavations. You can of course create your own, customize this one, and so on. So again, as in the previous example, everything is undefined or zero at the beginning. Nothing has been calculated. So once I start this trench calculation, the first thing you have is a setup of the trench configuration. So as I said, this is made specifically, again, with the idea to provide a very simple, very quick, and you can say basic calculation for a standard trench with one pipe. If you need more complex, to calculate more complex trenches with multiple pipes, with multiple beddings and so on, then you probably need to use the subassembly composer of Civil 3D. So once again, this is aimed to get you some standard information very quickly. So what do we have here? So this is the basic setup of trench configuration. So what can you do here? You can set up the angles for the trench so that they can be at an angle, or they can be vertical. The picture doesn't change. It just shows you which value you're currently editing. Okay. And you can edit a lot of things, like the angles, like the bottom width, the bedding type, like sand, concrete, and so on, the thickness, the amount of sand fill, and so on. And once you are satisfied, you just save this configuration. And as you can see, I have several versions here, and I can use them in every project. Once you move over to the Calculate tab, you have a few quite simple selections. So again, you select the pipe network, you select the configuration which you want to use, you select the surface from which you want to calculate, and how you want your reports to be written, as an Excel file or as a text file. So in this case, the program will create and write an Excel file, a new Excel file, okay? And you have the whole file path here, and you can change it and adjust it as you wish. Another thing which you can adjust is the excavation zones. So if you don't want to use this, you can have, of course, just one zone, or like in this example, you can have 4 different zones. And here below are the actual values that will be calculated, which you can look up. You can also, change the order, move something further up or down. You can exclude it from the report, add some prefixes, suffixes, modify the values, and stuff like this. So again, there's a selection. You can select just part of the network or the whole network. In this case, I selected the whole network. You let it run. You see below immediately some values appear. And so immediately you have the question, why is here something still not defined? Well, because the pipe in this case does not enter this excavation zone from 2 to 4. It stays entirely in the first excavation zone. So again, this is a nice interaction between these two tools, and you can very quickly see how things go. Just press save. You can choose to append the existing file or recreate everything from scratch. So I'm doing that. And once this is done, you just open the report, and there you have it. So a brief description of the trench type, and then you have all the, volume excavation numbers. At the end, you have a summary of everything. So volume of pipe, volume of sand beds, volume of filling zone, and so on and so on. And in the second sheet, you also have a short list of the lengths for each pipe diameter. Okay, so this is a very simple report which you can get, and then you do whatever you want. And of course, equal or similar to the hydraulic calculation, we also use property set data to store the values for this trench calculation. And again, we create them automatically, so there's nothing you need to do. These get created automatically by the software, and when you hit save, when you press save after the calculation, the values are stored in the property set data, and you can use them. And so just to explain quickly how you can use them. For example, okay, if we want to add a new label, I will just now create an AutoCAD selection from my data analysis tool. And now when I zoom into the picture, you see that all my pipes have been labeled with the values from the excavation. Okay, so this is the as I said, the nice thing about the property set data. You can store different values in them, whatever you want, and then you can use them in labels. This is the simplest thing. With Urbano Visio, you can also create AutoCAD tables, and you can export these values to Excel, for example. Okay, and I would like to finish today's presentation with a very simple conversion tool. So this one is quite simple to use again. And it should probably come in handy in your work. So let's review what we have here. So this little tool can convert several standard AutoCAD entities. So one thing we have in this picture are lines. Then we have a polyline with an arc segment or multiple arc segments. Then we have polylines, which are, let's say correctly drawn and, meeting at intersection points. But then we also have polylines which don't have an intersection point. So they are, let's say, not drawn correctly. But with Civil 3D, for example, this case where these two polylines don't have no connection point, have no connection vertex, this could not be converted to a Civil 3D pipe network. With Urbano Visio, this can, of course, be done. What do you choose? So, for example, I can choose the layer. So, in this case, conveniently, everything is on a single layer. Then I make the selection of the elements, of course. In this case, again, very simple. So the program recognizes 14 elements. I need to choose the network to which I'm going to append these pipes. I can immediately also select default part list elements. So I can select a default structure and pipe to give to this network. We'll break the pipes when there is a structure. So this will connect these pole lines which actually don't have any intersection points. If you have 3D elements, then you can use the vertex elevation as information to create the heights. And in the end, you can choose to apply the rules, the pipe network rules, or not. In this case, I will not apply them because it takes a lot of time to apply the rules. And that's it. If I go into the network, you can see that. So this is the standard pipe vista from Civil 3D, and you can see how long it takes to load everything. So now we have a full network. Okay, and of course with Urbano Visio, the editing tool, it's just in a blink of an eye you get all the information. Okay. The last thing I just want to say is how can you try this? Where it's actually quite simple. You can download it from Novedge. Ask them for the download to try it. You install it just like any other plugin, any other Civil 3D plugin, and you have this license manager, and in it you just press this button, request trial, and you fill out a form with your information, and you send the request. And very important, you have to give the correct email, and a code like this one will be sent to your email. And once you get this email, you just copy paste this code here, press activate, and that's it. You have a trial version for 15 days. Unrestricted, you can do whatever you want, and if you're satisfied, then of course you can head over to the Novedge website, and like I'm doing right now. And actually I think we are in the new releases, so this is Urbano Visio. If not, just search for Urbano Visio. You have different options here. You have 90 days license, you have a 1-year license, you have 3 packs, you have 20 packs if you're a big company, and so on. So different options there. An important thing to note as well about these 3 packs and 20 packs, you don't need to have 20 people to buy the 20 pack. You can have 5 people or 10, and they can just once their license expires, just use the next code. Okay, so and the 20 pack is of course cheaper than buying 20 single licenses. Okay, but you can figure this out for yourself. So, Barbara, that's all from my side.
Yeah, thank you, Mihael. Those were great tips. And yes, if you want to give it a try, and just contact me, Barbara at Novedge.com, and let me know if you want to download the trial, and I'll hook you up. So yeah, I think why not? Give it a try. It's wonderful. I'm waiting a few minutes, see if you have any other questions about the software, about the licenses. As you can see, it's very flexible. You need it for a limited amount of time. You have it. You add it onto your Civil 3D, make it simpler, faster, and then you're done when your project is done. So this is the beauty of it. But yeah, if you have other questions, we're here for another few seconds. In the meantime, I'll take the screen back and get ready to say my goodbyes. But I also want to remind you that this is where you can find Urbano Visio, like Mihael showed you. And next week webinar will be about Visual Arc 2, Flexible BIM for Rhino and Grasshopper, if you want to join us for that too. And Mihael, since I don't see any questions, what I will say is thank you for this extensive demonstration today. Have a wonderful rest of the day, and come check out Urbano Visio and Novedge.com, everybody. Bye-bye, Mihael.
Bye bye. Thank you, Barbara.
Bye.